Hi, I'm Abba,
And I'm Ayala.
and we made these for Building Heart 2021.
Here's how we did it.
We found this nice big piece of maple that had been drying in our shop for a few years and decided it would be just right.
We knocked off the bark and used our chainsaw to cut the log into pieces that could be turned on the lathe. To efficiently use the log, we chose part to be used for the bowl and part for the utensils. Once we had a nice slab of wood, we took it to the bandsaw to cut it in a rough circle. With the wood mounted on the lathe, the first job was to knock off any little corners until the wood became a nice circle.
We decided that we wanted to insert a ring of color into the bowl, so we found some dark wood and cut it into even slices and glued them into an octagon. The pieces were first glued into two half rings, which allowed us to clean up and sand each piece and adjust the angles for a perfect fit. Then we assembled the parts into a complete ring to include in the bowl.
Our plan was to create a line in the bowl by sandwiching the dark wood between two layers of light maple. To do this, we first sliced off the top inch of the bowl to create a ring that could be glued on top of the accent ring.
We knew that the final effect of the accent ring would depend on having very clean joints between the different colored woods. This meant that we had to put a lot of attention into getting the surfaces clean and flat and setting up a system of clamps to hold the parts while gluing them together.
We align the top piece so that the wood grain and the natural color of the maple carry through above and below the dark band.
The same clamping setup served well for putting it all together. After a day for the glue to dry, we could put it back on the lathe to finish shaping the outside surface. Flipping the bowl around, we carved out the inside and began to shape the interior to achieve a smooth, even wall. At this point, some of the dramatic grain pattern began to emerge.
Once the bowl had its final shape, we started the lengthy process of sanding it down to a beautiful silky texture, starting with rough sandpaper and gradually progressing to sandpaper with a very fine grit. Now it was time to make the utensils, using a piece that we originally cut from the same log. In preparation, we drew a design template on the computer which we printed out and glued onto the surface of the wood as a guide for cutting the basic shapes.
First, we put the sticks on their edge to cut the spoon shapes on the bandsaw. Next, we laid the pieces flat to cut out the general profile of the long handles and the round spoon and fork forms.
To create a visual accent on the handles, we used a similar sandwiching of the dark wood within the maple, echoing the line on the bowl. For added strength, we decided to insert a dowel between the three layers. Of course, we made the dowel on our lathe using the same dark wood, and we were ready to glue it all together.
The long handles were well suited to turning on the lathe. We worked carefully to get the exact profile and diameter from our design template. However, the flat parts had to be left rough and finished later.
After sanding it smooth, we shaped the end of the handle using our three-wheeled steady rest, which supports the turning pieces and gives us access to the free end. To create the tines of the fork utensil, we drilled some holes and then used the bandsaw to cut out the necessary strips.
Carving the flat fork shape into a more pleasing form we did using several different tools. The Dremel tool, the disc sander, and this cylindrical sanding device on our lathe.
Repeating the process for the spoon, we used our calipers to ensure the same diameters between the two utensils.
For a little personal touch, we inserted a brand into the bottom foot of the bowl on a disc of juniper.
Finally, it's time to coat the pieces with a durable, food-safe salad bowl finish.
It's always satisfying to see the color and grain of the wood come to life. Enjoy!